Respected faculty and delegates, I'm Dr. Srinivas Prabhu, and today I'll be presenting a paper on the topic evaluation of long-term radiological outcomes of minimal invasive transforaminal lumbar interbody fusion. First up, I would like to thank my mentor, Dr. Vikas Gupte, for allowing me to present this paper. The objective is to study long-term radiological outcomes in patients who underwent minimal invasive TLIF for surgeries which were performed between 2009 to 2015 for indications like degenerative spondylolisthesis, lytic listhesis, degenerative disc diseases, failed back surgery syndromes. We chose patients in whom we had performed a single level surgery with a fixed 22 mm matrix tube and used percutaneous pedicle screws and bullet shaped PEEK cage. We performed X-rays and CT scans for fusion assessment of bone density, which were assessed by a blinded radiologist by recording the Hounsfield units at the level and above the level of operative segments. We also assessed the pre-op and current disc height, pedicle screw violation through facet joint and cage subsidence to assess adjacent segment diseases and non-union. Bridging trabecular bone formation measured in Hounsfield units on CT scan anterior to the cage and centrally to the PEEK cage were assessed. We had a total of 68 patients with the mean age of 60 plus minus 13 years, 36 of whom were females and 32 were males. When we compare the bridging trabecular bone with presence of marginal radiolucency, as you know, the bridging trabecular bone suggests presence of union and a marginal radiolucency will suggest presence of pseudoarthrosis. When we compare them, the trabecular bone was present in 61 cases and in 3 cases in spite of presence of the marginal radiolucency, as you can see in this figure, the assessment that we have performed. The bone-to-bone bridge was assessed anterior to the cage where we had put the bone graft and at the central level through the PEEK cage. 60.94% cases showed adequate calcification with anterior bridging and 89.06% showed adequate calcification at the level of the PEEK cage. We had our share of complications including transfacetal screws, adjacent segment diseases, non-union and PEEK cage subsidence of greater than 4 mm in 4 cases. Here we can see case of a pedicle breach, we can see a facet violation and a non-union. Radiographic fusion as defined by Brantigan, Steff and Fraser et al. Says the bony bridge must occupy at least half of the fusion area with at least the density that was present at the time of surgery. Fusion through one cage is considered to be mechanically solid fusion. On the other hand, radiographic pseudoarthrosis is defined as presence of collapse of construct, loss of disc height, vertebral slip, broken screws, displacement of cage, or significant bony displacement. The bridging trabecular bone is the primary sign of solid fusion, which we use to measure on X-ray. It is defined as a continuous bony density of trabecular struts with remodeling. Subsidence of an interbody implant, the cage on this case, into an adjacent vertebral body is associated with delayed union and non-union. Posterior instrumentation results in artifacts that modifies the beam attenuation and basically alters our measurements. However, the use of PEEK cage does not appear to produce these changes, which allows us to accurately assess these measurements and also evaluate the fusion. In our study, we noticed that 92.19% of the cases, which is a very high percentage, showed adequate amount of trabecular bone formation with no change in disc height post-operatively. This is comparable to a number of other international studies which were performed with a much larger sample size. Thus, adequate bone formation was significantly maintained with maintenance of a good disc height post-operatively. We have observed a high number of fusion rates, especially through the PEEK interbody cage, with central bony bridging, in spite of these cages initially having been designed to provide a small surface area for bone graft placement. Cage subsidence of greater than 4 mm when correlated with central bony bridging had a good functional outcome. Cases of transfacetal screws and adjacent segment diseases were observed, but they did not cause fusion failure. In conclusion, we recommend meticulous end plate preparation covering maximum surface area, restoration of the disc height and interbody devices with large storage area for autogenous bone graft placement for successful central bony bridging, high fusion rate, and so that we can avoid filling anterior to the cage if less autogenous bone graft is available. We recommend cage redesign with a larger surface area. However, placement of the cage should be as anterior as possible and its length should be short. But such a redesigned cage would have biologically low tensile strength, being with such a large surface area and having thinning cage margins which make it hollow. So is such a case feasible has to be seen in some other studies. These are my references. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Thank you.